AskReddit by Yazienk. What's your favorite boss battle in a video game and why? Are you a hardcore gamer or a casual player? Mr. Freeze Batman Arkham City. The Mr. Freeze fight was a great example of how to design a boss fight. There's no gimmicks or anything like that, the player just needs to have really mastered all the different takedowns. Pretty casual gamer here, I'd say Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time. Such an epic fight at the top of the castle, then the desperate run down the collapsing tower, and seeing the true final boss arise from the rubble. Chills. I'm gonna double down on the Zelda franchise and say that I enjoyed the fight with Ganondorf and Totek. Was it hard? No, and that's fine. The fight seemed much more symbolic than anything else. Fighting this specific opponent that's using the exact same mechanics as you, the music throughout, Ganondorf's transformations, teaming up with the Light Dragon for the final phase of the battle, the final catch and that amazing musical score that accompanied it, which had Zelda's lullaby, from Oot, kicking as you're getting closer, all of it, fucking amazing. The Metal Gear series has some awesome boss fights, but I really enjoyed the Katana fight between Raiden and Solidus in MGS2 and 10-year-old me trying to figure out how to beat Psycho Mantis in Metal Gear Solid. Psycho Mantis rates way up there. Final Fantasy VII Final Boss. It's such a large epic fight and you have to bounce from group to group and actually strategize. It was so rewarding to me when you finally win that fight. Sephiroth. Knights of the Round X12 makes that fight a no-brainer, just give yourself an extra 30 minutes for the animations. Sword Saint Ishin in Sekiro. Literally a culmination of every combat type you've faced all game, then he also has a Glock. Owl Father slaps, too. I love all the humanoid fights, really. They feel like actual duels. The first Goomba, Super Mario. That dude has killed more players than I can imagine. I have never thought about this, but that Goomba probably does have the highest kill count of any video game enemy. The Lich King, World of Warcraft. That fight was a perfect mix of mechanics and RNG that could all be defeated with proper team coordination and communication. And beating it on heroic was absolutely one of the best feelings for me in terms of killing a boss to this day. Sticking with WoW, Nefarian in BWL is one of my favorites. Casual gamer, but beating Andross for the first time in Star Fox 64 is still pretty memorable. Bruh. The real Andross fight was freaky as shit. Dude's face just came off and it was only a brain flying around. Nightmare King Grim from Hollow Knight. I feel like half the Hollow Knight bosses could be in this thread. Mantis fight is another gem. Final boss battles in Infamous 1+2 were great. The finale for Infamous 2 was painful to get through because they do such a good job making me feel like the piece of crap I had become. They make you kill your best friend. I tried to scare him off or just hurt him to get him to stop, but I had pushed him too far for him to accept anything from me. I still feel stuff about it. Fighting my logic to see the Phasmid in Disco Elysium. The end from Metal Gear Solid 3. It's a really unconventional boss battle that takes place in a dense rainforest. The end is a geriatric sniper and you have to use many tools and resources to locate and damage him, such as equipping thermal goggles or using an in-game microphone to listen for his breathing. He also has a pet parrot that will point out the player's location to him, but you can choose whether or not to eliminate. Killing it also causes negative consequences for you. From what I remember, there is no boss music, which adds to the immersion of having to listen for footsteps, rustling leaves, etc. It's a really unique boss battle that requires some patience and creative thinking in order to win. Also, MGS games usually offer really unconventional strategies, and during this fight if you quit and set your console's internal calendar forward when you load the game back up, he will have died of old age. I've been playing games for most of my life and this is the one that first popped in my head. Not the first time MGS game did unconventional fight like that. Psycho Mantis fight comes to mind with its controller port switching. Slave Nightingale from Dark Souls 3. Challenging, but not impossible 3 phases. Very cinematic way to send off the series. Would love a DS4 someday, but probably never gonna happen. Metroid Prime in Metroid Prime, using all the beam's visors abilities you acquired throughout the game to beat the title character is pretty cool. I'd call myself a bit more than a casual gamer. I loved Thardus from that game. First boss of MP that made young men go whoa. In a game filled with memorable boss fights, fighting the boss in MGS3 is easily one of the best even if it's not technically difficult. On the harder side of things, Guardian Ape is both BS and also really damn incredible in Sekiro. I know a lot of people love fighting Ishin, but hated him. Speed focused bosses just don't do it for me and having to deal with him meant that I never beat the game. Portals 1 and 2. Do I need to say more? Absolutely not. Bob Barber in DMC is one that comes to mind right away as one of the most creative boss battles with some of the most stunning visuals and audio I've ever seen in a game. I know that game wasn't a hit with hardcore fans of the franchise, but as a casual player that boss blew me away and I generally enjoyed the game. I still can't get over the fact that you basically fought Tucker Carlson in a Fox News commercial bumper. That was brilliant. Hyperion from Returnal. The build up, the music, the way his attacks match the rhythm of the music. My favorite boss fight ever. https://yahoo.be/z8dpa3_9g?sij09h9z7ljuk-yc6j. Hahaha, I remember streaming this. I hadn't realized how loud my game was turned up until partway through the fight when I could hardly hear myself yell, "This is so fucking cool." Sundowner boss battle from Metal Gear Rising. Sadly he's let down a bit by being a bit underpowered, easily stunned and bizarrely low HP compared to other bosses. But his character and his whole ethos is just so friggin' goofy, and the Red Sun soundtrack is such a banger that the fight ends up being a blast. Not to shit on other MGR characters, but instead of a philosophy debate or a sob backstory, the guy is just like, lol, I love killing people, fucking fight me. And then uses gigantic scissors and swings a giant pole at you to try and kill you. It's awesome. Unalesca in Final Fantasy X. Great build up, great arena, great music. The fight itself is a great challenge where strategy matters more than stats. You think it's all going well, then when the third form comes and Megadeth wipes you, it's the ultimate WTF moment. Super Metroid on NES. Mother brain. I'm old. SNES. Mega Synchrono Trigger in the tower. My guy was tough. Of all epic battle tunes too, and there are a ton of bangers, this one certainly makes my top 5 at least. Final boss phase 2 of Wrath of the Machine raid in Destiny on heroic. Amazing encounter. It remains to this day my favorite Destiny raid, partially due to that specific encounter. Though to be fair, I haven't raided since Last Wish. Chess event, Karazhan. World of Warcraft. Four Horsemen was a fun one too. Luca Blight, Sukkot. Motherfucker got ambushed by an army, fought off 3 full parties of heroes, gets shot by volleys of arrows, and still has the ability to rush you for a duel, and can absolutely kill your ass in it too. Such a badass. Best villain in all of gaming. This is what I came here to post. Hearing the strategy with you, setting up your teams, then watching it all play out. The game kept telling us how dangerous Luca Blight was and how his own people were afraid of his wrath. Then the show did to us so well. Then he is half delirious from all the fights and opens the jar of fireflies and they begin to glow, giving away his position chef's kiss. The pixel art was amazing for the whole event. I'm so glad a remaster of this game is coming out.